If you love the Bears, like this video. We're going to get into our draft mailbag in just a second, but if you love the Bears, give us a big thumbs up. Let's get 400 likes on today's show. Go ahead and give us a big thumbs up. Super Chat going to kick things off from Jay Sand. How do you feel about Desmond Ridder in the later rounds? I think he's my favorite day 3 quarterback prospect. What's day 3? Rounds 4 through 7. Day 1 of the draft, first round. Day 2, rounds 2 and 3. Day 3 is rounds 4 through 7. I'd probably be comfortable taking him in the 4th or 5th round. I like him. He's got some mobility. I think he has a good chance to be a solid backup in the NFL. Maybe you could develop him into a starter. I don't think he's got a super high ceiling, but I like his potential. He's a decent prospect. Michael Bourne asks another quarterback question. If Mac Jones balls out in the national championship, could the Bears draft him in round 1? He using hashtag draft there. I'll say this. Todd McShay, ESPN's one of their draft guys, has Mac Jones as his number 32 prospect. 32 picks in the first round. So he's getting some first-round buzz with the way he's played this season, and he should. Look at the year he's had. I don't care who he's throwing to. 77%, 4,000 yards, 36-4 touchdown to interception ratio. I get it. Devontae Smith is incredible, but Jaylen Waddle's been out most of the season. That's pretty damn impressive. That's better numbers than what Tua was doing at Bama. Now, obviously, Tua hadn't been great for the Dolphins, so some of you guys might be like, well, Tua didn't turn out that well. Different quarterbacks. You don't know how it's going to be. Tua still has plenty of time. I might be willing to take Mac Jones in round 1 if he plays well in the national title, and maybe even if he doesn't, he's done good enough this season where he could sneak into round 1. Now, obviously, we know who the top 4 quarterback prospects are. Trevor Lawrence, Justin Fields, Zach Wilson, Trey Lance, and then I think Mac Jones is your 5th guy there. So I think he's past Kyle Trask. I think I'd be willing to draft him in the first round, depending on where the Bears are picking. Maybe they trade down to later in round 1. I like the question, Michael. I think he could be an option for the Bears in the back end of the first round. So should the Bears draft a quarterback? We'll go ahead and ask you this. Type Y for yes, type N for no. What do you guys think about Chicago drafting a quarterback? I'll tell you what. We'll make this the pinned comment on today's video. If you get hit with the ad break, go ahead and answer this question. Should the Bears draft a quarterback? David is next up. If the Jets want to trade pick number 2, what would you give up? Hicks and 2 firsts, Mack and a first is 2 ideas there. Oh, man. I don't think Hicks and 2 firsts is enough, honestly. Akeem Hicks is a nice player, but he costs a lot and he's getting older. Mack and 1 first, probably not enough either. Maybe Mack and 2 firsts would get it done. Guys, to get up from like number 19 or 20 where the Bears are going to be to the number 2 pick, especially in this draft where it's a good quarterback class, it's going to cost probably 3 firsts. It's going to be a ton. RG3 got 3 firsts, and he was a good prospect. I don't know if he was Justin Fields, though, and that's probably who's going to go, number 2. Got another super from Dan. I want to let A-Rob walk. That's a bad decision. Because of cap space, what about taking Jaylen Waddle at 20 and taking O-line in the 2nd and 3rd? Sure, you can do that, but number 1 receivers cost a lot. That's just how it works. And look at the Chiefs this last offseason in terms of the team who has just proven that you can work around the salary cap. They had $177 in cap space at one time, and they gave Patrick Mahomes a 12-year, $500 million contract. They re-signed Chris Jones for $100 million. They brought Sammy Watkins back, and they brought in a couple of other dudes on one-year contracts for more than the veteran minimum. You can make it work. You can move contracts around. You can extend Allen Robinson. I like Jaylen Waddle. I'd rather just keep the guy that I have. What is the better part of the offseason? Type D for draft, type F for free agency. They're both fun. We're going to cover it both here on Chicago Bears Now, so subscribe. But what do you guys think? What is the more fun part of the offseason? D for draft or F for free agency? And like I mentioned, we're going to cover Bears draft rumors, Bears mock drafts, free agency targets, all of that stuff here on the channel. And as we get more subscribers, we'll plug out more videos for you guys. It's 100% free. So hit that big red button and subscribe and share that link with the friend down below. It's youtube.com/BearsNow. Jason with another super. Do you have any insight as to why Pierce wasn't getting reps? Because David Montgomery's been a badass recently. Like, you feed the beast, right? Hashtag free Monty on that one. Artemis Pierce is an undrafted rookie running back. I think he's got some potential, but I'm not taking carries away from David Montgomery for Artemis Pierce. And Cordell Patterson actually ran pretty well against the Packers, so keeping him as your number 2 guy was the right move by Nagy and Bill Lazor. Santos is next up. A lot of supers. Appreciate you guys today. Would you say improving at left tackle and defense is more of an urgent necessity than replacing Mitch? Hard for any quarterbacks to thrive with a mediocre O-line. I think there's some logic to what you're saying there. I will say this, though. The O-line has actually been fairly stabilized since Mitch has returned to the lineup. Now, some of that could be scheme-related with more RPOs, more play actions, being able to run the football more effectively. But I think you have to recognize that the O-line, when Foles was in the game, was pitiful. The injuries were more. They couldn't figure out the center position. Now Mustafa's playing at center. Cody Whitehair is blowing people up at left guard. And Alex Bars has been good at right guard. Yeah, you need to upgrade at tackle. I wouldn't say that that's necessarily a bigger need than quarterback. But if there's not a good quarterback there, yeah, just draft the tackle in round 1 and then figure out the rest later. Ghostly Chino, #draft. What do you think of drafting Rashod Bateman out of Minnesota with our first pick if A-Rob is gone? I wouldn't hate that. I think if the Bears lose in the playoffs in the first round and are drafting at 19 or so, might be a little rich for Bateman. I think he's more in the 20s. I think trading down actually becomes a realistic option for Chicago, though, if a quarterback they like isn't on the board when they select. So maybe you trade down, pick up an extra third or something, draft Bateman at like 25. I'd definitely be down with that. Muhammad Turi, Harrison, what do you think about this? I think the Bears should draft 2 offensive linemen in the first 2 rounds and draft Amari Rodgers in the 3rd, the Clemson wide receiver. I guess. I don't think the O-line thing is as big of a need anymore. You need a tackle. That one of your first 2 picks or a high-level free agent needs to be a left tackle. And then if you want to move Leno to right tackle, or if you want to keep Massey as your right tackle, re-sign Fetty at right tackle, I think you can get away with that because at that point your line's good enough. But you have to get 1 tackle. I don't know if your first 2 picks should be O-linemen anymore. 2-3 months ago, yeah, you could talk me into that. But now, not so sure. I like Amari Rodgers, but I think he's probably more of a day 3 pick in the 4th round. Sleeping. I love to sleep. How do we draft the local kid, Jake Hanson, out of Illinois to pair with Roquan? That could be a deadly combo. I haven't done a lot of research on Hanson, the linebacker out of Illinois there. I mean, if you move on from Trevathan, yeah, a linebacker could become a need there. I'm okay with that. I don't know what his draft value is, and quite frankly. He's not a first-round guy, I don't believe. I'll talk to my guy Tom Downey, ask him about him after the show. But it depends on Trevathan. If you bring back Trevathan, you probably don't focus on linebacker in this draft. So who is your favorite NFL draft prospect this year? I've got 2. I want you guys to answer in the comments. But my 2 favorite draft prospects, and I'll do non-quarterbacks. Kyle Pitts, the tight end, wide receiver, do-it-all player for Florida. I think he's awesome. And Rondale Moore, the undersized receiver out of Purdue. You guys probably know him because he's playing close by in Chicago. Yeah, those are 2 of my favorites. Let me know who your favorite prospect is this year.